Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jamie and today I have a very spooky Halloween October TBR. It is finally the month we have all been waiting for here on BookTube. It is every reader's favorite month. That's October. I am so excited for all of the books that I have planned. Of course, many of them are horror, spooky, scary books, but I also have a fair few that are not. But the scariest part of this TBR is how long it is. I don't know how I'm ever going to get through all of them. The reality is I won't get through all of them, but it'll be interesting to see how many I do actually manage to get to by the end of the month. Of course, it's going to take several 24-hour readathons and some very dedicated reading time in order to make sure that I hit at least some of my main priorities. This is a little intimidating, I'm not going to lie, but I'm so excited because this is the best time of year. The reason we are all doing this, it's to read our spooky books in October. Can we just take one moment for the sweatshirt? It says Pottsfield Harvest Festival. So cute. Any Over the Garden Wall fans out there? This is for you. In the month of October, I know that there are so many readathons and special events going on BookTube to celebrate Halloween, and I'm definitely trying to be a part of those. The main one that I'm going to be participating in is TBR Harvest, created by Leandra the TBR Zero, and of course Leandra can't just make one prompt sheet, she had to make 3, and I want to definitely participate in at least 2 of them. So I want to do the Escape the Haunted House and the Harvest board with the cats, and I was going to tell you guys all of my plans for like all of those prompts, but that honestly just seems like way too crazy, and knowing myself, I probably won't even get that far in the month, so I will just save that and I will explain in a vlog or in another video when I do those. But definitely check her out, these look so much fun. And the other one I'm going to participate in a little bit is the horror bingo board by Wicked Reading. This is actually a year-long process, so basically like you have a year from, well, I'm gonna say like October of 2024 to October of 2025 to complete the entire board. But my goal is to actually get just a single bingo across in the month of October 2024. So we're kicking it off, and luckily the TBR Harvest and horror bingo go hand in hand, so I can, cross off a couple of those. That's my goal. And a lot of the books I'm going to be talking about now are obviously going to be working really well towards those goals. But yeah, trying to go through all of the potential prompts seems a bit overwhelming for now, but I will try to figure out an effective way to do that and get back to you on that. So I've sort of broken out my stack of October possibilities here by a little bit of a theme. So the ones I'm going to start with are books that I'm actually currently reading, like I've already started, because at the day of filming this, it's October 2nd, which makes me feel a little bit behind, but that there's a good reason for that. That does remind me, normally I do my monthly wrap-ups and my new month TBRs together, but this October TBR was so crazy, it needed its own video. So if you are looking for what I read in September, that video is right here, so go ahead and check that out. I would love it if you did. Okay, jumping into a book that I started midway through September, and I started on the day it came out, which was September 24th, and I'm currently still reading it. That is Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. It's my most anticipated book of 2024. I'm currently almost halfway through it. So this is my highest priority. I can't start reading any of my spooky October books until I finish this, so I'm really working to make some progress on this, hopefully this weekend. It is a dense book at the moment. Sally Rooney is a great writer and she's just getting better and better, and this one is definitely proving it's one that you have to take your time with. I'm gonna save my thoughts for my recent release review of it, but yes, I am currently in the middle of this. I also just started When You Are Engulfed in Flames by David Sedaris. This is an essay collection by famed author David Sedaris. I've read a couple of his collections before, but I just found this copy at the library and I'm obsessed with the cover. So I decided to read this book. I am listening on audiobook because David Sedaris always narrates his own audiobooks, and I just love that addition. I love it when the author narrates their own work. It just adds this very personal touch to it. So I am currently in the middle of this. And then I did have a couple books that I'd actually planned to, well, I had kind of hoped that I would get to them at the end of September, but then I forgot that Intermezzo was coming out and that book showed up on my doorstep and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to drop everything to read this. So these are 2 books that are left over from my September TBR that are going to be wrapped into a cozy fall reading vlog. I've been filming that for a long time, so I hope that I can get these done soon. The first one is Regrettably, I Am About to Cause Trouble by Amy McNee. And this was published in 2022, but honestly, I just heard about this. I heard one person talk about it on BookTube, and then I found out that like a couple other people had picked it up, but I'm just like so obsessed with this cover. And this is a witchy book, and I am on my hunt to find my perfect witchy book. So I'm hoping that this will hit the mark. This takes place in the 1500s. And it's about a woman who has like a birthmark and her husband thinks that it's a sign of a witch and she's kind of outcast from society, and she is then picked up by a coven of witches, and it just sounds wonderful. I have started this book a tiny bit, but I didn't get far enough to count it really. So this is, I'm excited to get to this one. And then we have Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands by Heather Fawcett. Of course, this is the second book to the Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies series. I've been highly anticipating this. I was saving this for fall, and I meant to read it in September, but I didn't get around to it. So I'm kind of nervous because I don't see how I can get to this in October, but maybe we can work a miracle. Okay, and then the Booker Prize Shortlist. I had been hoping to read a couple of the Booker Prize books, but I have 2 specifically on my physical TBR that I really need to prioritize. The first one, the most important one, being James by Percival Everett. This is a book that is getting so much critical acclaim this year. Not only is it shortlisted for the Booker Prize and is honestly like the best bet to win the whole thing, it's also shortlisted for the National Book Award this year, and I'm pretty sure, we don't know because Pulitzer Prize doesn't release a shortlist, but there's also a good chance that this will win the Pulitzer. So this book is like really making waves this year, and that means that I have to get it together and read this immediately. I should have read it months ago, to be honest, but I am really prioritizing reading it as soon as possible. But I do have a little bit of time with the Booker Prize and also the National Book Award, so I think I could afford to wait until the first week of November to read this book, but it is very high on my list, and I was hoping to do a Booker shortlist reading vlog in October, so I might still get to this. Similarly, a book that is very highly anticipated for me personally, and it was on the Booker shortlist, that is The Safekeep by Yael van der Woodен. This is the story of a woman who is in World War II. What country is she in? I think she's in the Netherlands, and her family owns a huge home in the Netherlands, and then she has a woman who comes to be her maid, and I don't know, there's something going on there. I to be honest, I don't know much about the plot, but I have heard that this reads like a thriller, but it's literary, and everyone that I've seen read this book has really enjoyed it, and it's pretty short actually, which is very exciting, and this has been one of my most anticipated books of the year since I heard about it, so I really just need to carve out some time to get this done, especially because it is so short. Okay, getting into the spooky reads. I know this is what everybody's here for, and we do have quite a few of them, okay? So I was able to pull a new prompt from my TBR teacup that was done in my September wrap-up, and this says a book with a person on the cover, and I was so excited to pull that because I have the perfect book, a book that I am absolutely going to read in October. It is like a non-negotiable at this point. I need to stop putting it off. That is Slewfoot by Brom, and look, a person on the cover. Could not be more perfect. Speaking of looking for my ultimate witchy book, I'm hearing this is the one. It's pretty much well known on BookTube that this is a fantastic witchy spooky story, and I have just been putting it off for far too long. I wanted to save it specifically for Halloween season. I meant to read it last Halloween season and I didn't, so it has to get done this year. Similarly, a book that I have been meaning to read for years. It's been on my Halloween TBR in the past, still not done, and I actually have it as a goal to read this book in 2024. That is House of Leaves. I've talked about this book plenty of times. It's the famous haunted house mixed media book that everyone loves, and I'm dying to read it. I put it on my fall TBR board. So I said it was an October goal of mine to read this, and I still do want to hold on to that. I don't know how to go about doing this. I don't know if I should just like read a little bit at a time or try to knock it all out at once. I don't know, but this is on my October TBR. Next up, I have a couple 2024 horror releases that I'm really dying to get to. I've done a pretty good job of getting to the horror books that have been released this year that I'm really interested in. As the year's gone on, I've done a pretty good job of getting to them, but I still have several that I haven't been able to get to yet. The first being Woodworm by Layla Martinez, and this is just a very short, I don't know if it's quite a novella, but I think it's less than 200 pages. But this is a haunted house story with kind of like a mother and a daughter that are actually trapped inside the house. So kind of giving Grey Gardens, but haunted. And that sounds really lovely. And I do believe that this is a translated work. Yes, it is. So I'm very excited, adore this cover, excited to get to this one for sure. And I'm hoping to do these in a reading vlog where I read 2024 releases. So the next one is a book that's been on my TBR for like half of the year. That's Incidents Around the House by Josh Malerman. This is actually an art copy that I got like a while ago. It says this book was on sale June 25th. So yeah, I've had a while. I meant to read this for Summerween and didn't get to it. So it's time for me to read it for Halloween. But I'm kind of okay with it because this book, like, the words are very large and there's like a lot of blank space on the page. So I do think this is going to read quickly and that'll make it great for a 24-hour readathon. Next up, we have Bury Your Gaze by Chuck Tingle. This book has honestly been making the rounds and people have been loving it. Like, I wasn't really sure what to make of this at first, but since people have been reading it and they have been absolutely loving it, singing its praises, I'm very excited to finally dig in. And again, I hope it's one that reads very quickly. I've heard this is chaotic, crazy. This is about, I believe, a man who works in Hollywood as a writer, and I think one of his characters, or maybe he's an actor, his character gets killed off, and then he goes on like on a revenge rampage around LA, and it sounds campy, it sounds wild, it sounds really crazy, and a couple of other people also told me it's very funny. So I'm just like so excited for a wild, good time with this book. And like I said, I've been hearing nothing but amazing things about it. So those 3 books I'm hoping to get to in a 24-hour reading vlog, and that would take 3 amazing books off my TBR. So let's hope we can manage that. And then for my in real life book club, we actually decided in the month of October to do 4 spooky classic short stories. And the one that I am choosing is The Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe. I'm not going to read this whole book. I'm just going to read the one 20-page story. I think I'm also going to put that 20-page story into my 24-hour readathon just to make sure that I absolutely get it done. Fall of the House of Usher, classic haunted house story. And again, I'm looking for my perfect haunted house. And maybe that perfect haunted house is in 20 pages rather than 300. We'll find out. I'm excited to finally read it. It's been on my list for a long time, so it'll be an easy thing I can cross off this month. Okay, the last couple of stacks are ones that I would love to be able to get to, but not sure. We've already had a lot, so we're gonna see, but these are ones that I'm hopeful for. The first being Autumn by Allie Smith. This is another book that I have been dying to get to for a long time. Like every year, fall comes around and I mean to read it and then I don't, but this year, I did see that it was the October pick for Folklore and Fiction's book club. I'll link them on Instagram. And it kind of reinvigorated my desire to read it. And also, I was just looking, and the words on the page are like huge. Like, it's kind of crazy. Like, this is the size like middle grade books are printed with text this big. So actually, that makes me very excited because it means it'll read relatively quickly, I think, like at least faster than I was expecting. So I don't know, maybe I'll be able to get this done. I don't know, maybe I can do it if I hit like a prompt on the TBR Harvest board that might fit for this. So we'll see, I don't know. I would like to, we'll see. And then I have Death in Her Hands by Otesha Mosfeg. I read one Otesha Mosfeg earlier this year that was my year of rest and relaxation, and I did enjoy it. But the reason I picked up this one was because I've heard that it really plays with structure in like a crazy way. And I think it's also like a thriller. It says a novel of haunting metaphysical suspense about an elderly widow whose life is upturned when she finds an ominous note on a walk in the woods. So I think it's like a thriller, but it has a really interesting structure. And I am just like dying to read this. Like I am seriously considering picking this up next. Like if I was just mood reading, this is what I would pick up. And I think because it's a thriller, I could count it towards TBR Harvest. We'll see. Or maybe even Escape the Haunted House. I'm not sure. But again, seems pretty short, so it seems very doable. But this is a library copy, so that's why I kind of want to prioritize it. Okay, we're down to the last category of books, and these are arcs that I have received in 2024 and I have not read. Some of them have been published, some of them have not been, but I'll show you what I have. The first up is Body Friend by Catherine Barbin. This is a literary fiction book about a girl. It says a 28-year-old woman with a chronic illness, and she meets this other woman who is very similar to her, and I think it's just about their relationship and experience. It says a potent novel about chronic illness and the circular nature of recovery. I'm very interested in it. This was on my, I was hoping to read this in summer. It did not end up happening, but I'm hoping to read all of these arcs in an arc reading vlog. So we'll see. Next up, I have The Book of George by Kate Greathead. And to be honest, I want to read this because my husband's name is George, and it does say that this is like a satire on, I guess, dating in the current age and just like the general like toxic masculinity that is like permeating throughout the youth culture. And it seems funny, it seems lighthearted, and I'm very interested in the things that this has to say. It just seems like fun, and I got an art copy of it for free, so I was like just so excited about it. Next up, a book that has been on my TBR similarly for like at least half the year, if not more. That is Toward Eternity by Anton Her. This one has actually already been published, and I think actually I think these three have already been published, and then the one I have down here is not yet published. I think these three are already published, but this one's been out for a while, but I do have my art copy and I would like to read it. This is a sci-fi, I think it is about AI and exploring the nature of intelligence and unexpected consequences of progress, the meaning of personhood, and what we really have to fear from the future. Seems lovely. Anton Her is the translator who works with Bora Chung on Bora Chung's short story collections. And now Anton Her is writing their own book, so I'm excited to get to this. And again, not very long, so it's like I feel like I should be able to get through some of these books. And finally, the last book on my October hopefuls list. This is a book that is not released yet. It's an art copy of Havoc by Christopher Bolin. This is a psychological thriller. And to be honest, I don't know a lot about it, but here is what it says. It says, a major breakout novel from the modern master of the Highsmithian literary thriller, which is referring to Patricia Highsmith, who is an author that I really, really love. So that's exciting for me. It says, a meddlesome elderly guest at a decadent luxury resort believes she has left her past behind until an unassuming 8-year-old boy arrives for a visit and she finally has met her wicked match. So honestly, this like kind of sounds a little bit silly, but I definitely love the trope of like a meeting of the minds, battle of wits kind of situation. I love two characters trying to outsmart each other. That's just a trope I fall for every single time. And I do hope this is going to be like a fast, silly, fun read. And, we'll see. So that would be quite a lot of books to fit into a reading vlog. But I would love to get to all of these before the year is up. And also this one actually releases in December of 2024. Yeah. So it releases right before Christmas. So I would love to be able to talk about this in a recent release book review. We'll see. That's it. This is crazy. There you have it. Here are all or most of the books that I would love to get to in October. This TBR does seem crazy and frankly not possible, but I do have some 24-hour readathons planned. I do have a lot of reading dedicated for TBR Harvest, so who knows, maybe we can get it done. Let me know down in the comments below, have you read any, or are there any that I absolutely should prioritize from this list? And let me know what you are most excited to read this month. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, week, month, and Halloween, and I will see you next time. Thanks so much. Bye!